Okay. HTML. So there's all sorts of things that you can do in HTML,
Mm-hmm.
and very few things that you have to do in HTML.
Okay.
Basically, browsers have evolved to be greedy sons of guns and do the best they can to like show, whatever it is you're trying to do. So, you can actually have something called HTML validators, and this will actually tell you if your HTML is completely valid. So I can show you real quick. Basically, we have this stuff here, here, input, check, and this is gonna probably break a bunch of rules. Yep. So consider adding a laying attribute and expected doc type HTML and missing a header of a title and a bunch of things.
Okay.
Some of these things are important, some not so much. Doc type HTML is probably a good idea, so I'm going to hand the keyboard over to you. Keyboard and mouse. I'm going to sit over here.
What am I doing? Am I doing stuff in the validator or?
So if you scroll down, you see that little expected doc type HTML. That second error, number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Copy that.
This?
Yep, that tag. That's an HTML tag. And then Alt Tab. It's an awesome shortcut you should know. Hold Alt, hold Alt and then push Tab. Okay, that's the one you want to be on, so hit that one. Just let go. Then you can double click on the HTML.
Any of them?
Yeah. And paste. Let's see, you're going to get rid of the alligators on those.
Both of them?
No, both of them, one on each side. You have an extra one.
I'm so confused. What do you mean?
So there's a red alligator.
See.
You don't get rid of the red one, get rid of the other one.
Oh.
It's red because something is wrong, it just doesn't know what is wrong. Okay, I guess it's been too long. So let's go to...
Is it HTML? Or did I accidentally grab the period or something?
No, I think I just am bad.
Okay.
So if you want, you can go to the beginning of the line.
Okay.
So hit Control V and enter. And then let's go back to the web to see what
Copy paste it in, or?
well, so we already have it. I'm trying to figure out where we can find documentation around what that actually needs to look like,
What are we trying to do?
Start with HTML. Build things and stuff.
Okay, but why are we putting in the stock type? What is it?
It's okay, so HTML is a programming language, right?
Mm-hmm.
That helps browsers and things know,
That you're using HTML?
right, and not trying to use JavaScript or something else.
Okay.
So there's basically you're always going to have better performance if you follow the standards.
Okay.
So honestly, do a quick Google for HTML starter or HTML index. I'm sure I'll come up with something. A6, yeah, there you go, right there. Most of it ends up here in the index page because reasons. Okay, default home page, site architecture and index.html. Cool. Keep scrolling down. Keep going. Oof. Okay, go to the next potential option. Understanding how to Google things is probably the most important skill you can learn when it comes to doing any kind of dev. So,
You have the maddest googly skills.
yeah, I try. Okay, so right there, correct doc type. So we declare that in the first line. So I guess we don't actually have a closing tag for that. It just is. Cool.
So we don't need to bracket this around the hello world. We just say this is the doc type and then we
Right.
need the hello world.
Yep, I think that is the case. So you
Okay,
need to
so it's up there,
remove
and
that, yeah. Too far. You still need the closing tag.
which is that.
Yep.
So
And I would go and indent it so that do an enter on the H,
on this
the
page,
big capital H of the hello world. Enter, and then do an enter after hello world. Delete. Boom. Code and stuff. So if you save that, Control S, we can open up a browser. If we go back to the browser and go back to that page, the file page, or you could come here if you wanted as well.
Where are you? What are you saying?
I was saying to open up the file in the browser. So click there, do your file, colon, 3 slashes.
I do a semicolon.
Yeah, file colon there.
What did I do wrong?
Do file colon C colon, no, go back. C colon slash.
Oh yeah, because we only had to do a C slash. That's what you saw last time.
Yep. Okay, then the users. Yep, Ronin. Projects? No, desktop. Then projects. Robotic Bartender. Too far.
Alphabetized.
Index. Ka-chow. And technically, one of the things you can do is right-click, inspect at the bottom, Control-Shift-I on Windows, and you can actually see what your code is, and actually you can see how Chrome is actually not showing your code exactly the way that you wrote it, because it's kind of faking it. So let's actually go and add those head and body tags. So you could just copy and paste them, or
Copy element.
sure,
And
Alt tab.
I didn't pay attention to where this was.
Head is going on top because head nope.
Like
inside of HTML.
Inside HTML.
Yep.
Okay.
And then if you Control tab, it will unindent for you. Shift tab, sorry, other control button.
Yeah.
Too far.
No.
Tabbing is hard. Okay, and then you can do just add a slash body, a body tag.
I hate your keyboard. I don't hate it. It's nice, but was it supposed to be at the end or before? It was before, huh?
Before we also, so when it has a slash, that's a closing tag. So you need to make sure you still have an opening tag.
Isn't that what this is? Where
So you have opening and
Oh, I
closing
have
head
open and
tags
close.
and opening and closing HTML tags, but you don't have an opening body tag.
Okay. Is it alt tab? What do I do? Oh, the body opening is up there by the hello world.
Yep, because you want the hello world to be a part of the body. So fundamentally that's how HTML works. Is all about. So you don't want the body to contain the head
Mm-hmm.
because bodies are different than heads.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to pull your head tags above and
Makes
outside
sense.
of the body. Yep. So do you see kind of how the tags work in that they wrap things? So basically, if you look at the very top, you see, oh, HTML. What it's saying is everything inside of the beginning tag to the closing tag is HTML. Does that make sense?
Everything inside of this one or inside of this?
So,
Inside of this?
yes.
Okay. So you're saying the document type is HTML. The following inside of this and this is HTML.
Right.
We have a head and we have a body, and the body says hello world and the head doesn't say anything.
The body contains hello world.
The body contains hello,
Yeah.
the text.
Yes.
Okay.
So, sorry. No one's watching. Also, I've been very particular about making sure no one can see. Okay, so basically tab out your hello world and your body closing tag, and then we can actually probably go validate it.
So you're saying tab that and then tab hello world further?
Yep. That just helps keep like a visual
Everything
lock
neat so you
on
can
where
see.
things, yeah. Because now you can see, oh, head and body are part of the HTML tag, and hello world is a part of the body tag, because you just kind of follow your eyes indented inward.
Okay. Why do we even have a head tag if nothing's in there?
Because HTML standards. Like, we can put some things in there. We will eventually, just not right now.
Okay. So you're saying, oh, it's already in there. We don't have to
Well,
bring it over.
You do if you want to validate it.
Oh,
So,
to validate it, we're doing.
yeah, control copy, control save real quick. And then if you go back to Chrome, cool. There you go. You can just control A, control V. Or manually do it. Check. Yay. So we got rid of one of the warnings. So, this is not by any means like end all be all of HTML.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, once we actually get into like the front end frameworks that manage most of the HTML, you can't actually really check. Not to any meaningful degree, unless there's probably packages that'll check for you, but you're not going to check with this.
Mm-hmm.
So realistically, the thing that's important about the HTML checker is it helps you get your first kind of thing set up, because that's basically where all the rules and regulations are. And once you kind of get that set up, then everything else just kind of works. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, go back to your HTML, your index.html in the tab. Nope. The Google Chrome tab. So, refresh that. Cool. And you can see it even has you spaced out this time.
Nice.
Woo!
Pretty.
Okay. So next step I would argue is different types of tags. There's a number of different types of tags, and we're gonna go through them, or some of them. There's a lot.
Are you saying tags as in hello world was a text tag, or what are you saying?
Yeah. So if you go back to your code. So we have a head tag, a bit body tag, an HTML tag. So one of the things you could do is go ahead and wrap the hello world with a, they're called header tags. But
So it's going to be inside the body?
inside the body around the hello world. So, yep, perfect.
So I tab in another?
Nope, that's perfect. So they're called header tags, and there's basically H1 through H6, I believe. Yep. And so just do like in H1, I guess. We'll see how big it ends up being. And then...
What do you mean?
So, slash H1. So what we're telling the browser is that this is a header. It's important. It needs to be big. You have an extra alligator.
Oh, that was pretty.
Hi. So if you save that and go back to your browser and refresh, boom, it's bigger.
So the H1 is just tells it what size to be?
It's saying that it is a header.
But if I had chosen a different H number.
Yes, it would have been smaller. So H1's the biggest, H6 is the smallest.
Okay.
So basically it says this text is special in that everything inside of here needs to follow whatever H1 rules are.
Okay.
You can override these things with CSS, which we will get into later, but for now, I'll just kind of walk through some of those things.
Okay. And if I had written header, which was one of the options that came, would that have just
Probably
let me do my own
not.
stuff? Or
I don't know, we
had
could
its
try
own
it.
rules, or?
I have never used the full header. You could look up the W3 spec. That's a great place, great resource for programming and
W3
HTML.
spec.
Yeah, so if you open up a new tab, W3 HTML. Click on that right there. Yep. Okay. Yeah, so in the example there, we basically just did that. We didn't have a title, but we have a head, we have a body, we have there's a heading, there's a paragraph there.
And then they use H1 instead of head right there. Can you use H1 or head or whatever? Can you
So
use one
head
thing
is-
multiple times, or do you have to switch?
Head is special.
Okay.
Head is not the same as header.
Oh, okay.
Head, like, if you put stuff in your head, it actually probably won't show up.
Okay.
Because head is more specifically for site metadata, and like this little page title actually goes to this right here. So we could put a title in the head, and then when you reload this will stop saying index.html and start saying whatever you put in that title. Does that make sense? Do you want to try that?
Okay.
So you just go inside the head tag.
And then just text.
No, you have to have a title tag inside the head tag. So you should probably tab out. Yep.
Okay. And then I can put text and then the end title.
Yep.
Hi. I don't know what's happening.
You're okay.
Nope. We're gonna leave that alone.
Fair enough. Autocorrect is something that's great, or auto populate. Cool. Now you can save that, and then you can go back to your browser and actually. Oh, you added an extra alligator. You love those alligators.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
And then if you
Beautiful.
refresh, boom! At the top,
Nice.
Robotic Bartender. Titles. You coded.
Beautiful.
Coded.
Yes, I did.
Literally the master.
The master.
So we can do all sorts of things. fundamentally, the thing to remember is that HTML breaks up the page into different pieces.
Into these pieces?
Yeah. But, like, if you go to your HTML tutorial thing, like, this is a piece, that's a piece.
Okay. So
So
you're saying this thing's a
that,
piece?
yep, that side's a
This
piece.
piece.
That top's a piece. If you scroll up, like, this whole thing is a piece.
Okay.
And then, this is a piece. And this is a piece.
Like a piece within a piece?
Yep. So it's all about, like, HTML is the basic structure of what your web page looks like.
Okay.
It doesn't include hardly any, I mean, you can, but CSS is really where all the, like, fancy spacing and pushing things to different sizes and all sorts of other stuff end up. So CSS is the biggest pain in the butt, but is very important. And we'll get there. So, if you want, you could actually grab the P tag. This is a paragraph, and drop that into our code, and we can take a look at what that actually looks like.
Drop it where?
Into the body, so below the header tag.
In the body, below the head.
Below the header.
Okay.
Yep. Boom. Perfect. Save that. And then boom. Woot. Now you can do some of the important things to know what to do is navigation, because that still potentially ends up being used. A tag, anchor tags, also known as. So
say all those words again. Sorry. Navigation. What? Anchor tags navigate you, or what do you say?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you go to your little HTML tutorial thing, click on the URL. The URL is, yep, that's exactly what you want. So copy that, and we're going to go to the code again. And do an enter. And we're going to do an A tag. So it's going to be open A, and then put, say, close A, and then you got too many alligators.
I tell you, it's your keyboard.
Too many angle
keyboard.
boys.
Roby, paste.
Not yet. You're gonna name it like Mr. Link or something.
Oh, hi Paco.
That's
Monkey.
A monkey.
Just type Mr. Link, or what
Yeah.
What do you name it?
Mr. Link. That works. Okay, and then in the A tag, so go up into the beginning. Now, HTML, it's fairly straightforward. That's an A tag, you have P tags, but a lot of times you actually need to add more info to the tags. So what you do is go inside of the alligators, one space, and then type href, ref, equals, and then do quotes.
Open and close? It does it for me.
And then Control V. So what you're saying is this is a anchor tag, and it is anchored on the w3schools.com/html.
What's href mean?
Hyperlink ref?
Okay.
Hyperlink reference? I don't know. Let's Google it. What does href stand for? Hypertext reference. Cool.
Nice.
Okay, so hypertext reference.
Oops, what did I do?
You are in the.
I hit space and things moved.
Okay.
Okay.
Save.
So, what does Mr. Link?
Mr. Link is the text that hyperlink is
gonna show up
representing.
as?
Yep, so if
So
you
that's
go,
what's blue.
refresh right there, and if you click on that,
It'll take us there.
yep,
Beautiful.
navigation.
Nice.
So that is a fairly useful HTML element. Let's just go back to the little tutorial that's there. Click on the HTML elements on the left. Yeah. Let's see if...
Heading, paragraph. It doesn't tell me what BR is.
BR is a break. So, let's go play with that one. One of the things, you could go ahead and type a bunch of stuff into the "this is a paragraph" tag. Just type like crazy madman typing stuff. I am typing. Wow, you are much, much less entertaining. So if you save that, even if you put, so you can actually take a look at this. Tab out. Oh my god. Okay, so tab out your paragraph.
Enter tab?
Yeah. You probably just need to enter and then enter on the this. And then do an enter on and I'm highly, like, after each period. Okay, so you have a bunch of enters in there. That means it should show up like this, right?
That seems like a loaded question, and that's probably what the break means. Now that you now that you asked me that, no, I don't think it will.
You'd be right.
Hi.
Hi.
Should we show everybody?
Probably at this point.
Hi.
Also, it's getting dark. Let me turn on the light.
Yep. It did not add in all
No
of my
spaces. So we can go
different
in
lines.
and add breaks.
Alright.
Now
Do
breaks
I do it
are.
at each? Where do I do
Yeah.
it?
You want to do it wherever you actually want the break. Now
And that's
breaks
just a B?
are
Do I have to close
a
the break?
BR.
BR.
Now, some tags you don't actually need a opening and a closing. You can have them all in one. So if you put this in right now, it's going to yell at you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you actually do go left one, space slash, that's like saying this is the opening, yep, and closing all at the same time.
Well, that's cool.
So you can save that, go back to here. Voila! You made breaks.
Viola.
Viol.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
So let's go find some more tags to play with.
In the elements one?
Yeah.
Okay. I told you I was highly entertaining.
You are.
Alright. Let's see. We've done. We did paragraphs and HTMLs and breaks. We did these things.
Cool. We can go to the attributes. Go to the next. Let's see. Yeah, so hrefs have, those are called attributes. We can do it.
Ooh, we can do an image?
Yep. Let's do an image tag. Those still are useful.
IMG. And then is that source?
Yep.
And then that's a JPEG?
Right.
Okay.
And so, realistically, what you should probably do is just go find an image off of Google,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have any like caching or anything yet, and we'll deal with that later. We're not actually storing any of our images, so do a robot. Go to images. Hopefully we don't regret this. Cool. Find a robot.
Let's just do a cute little like black and white.
Do cute black white or cute robot clip art.
cute. I still want just like a black and white. He's cute. Ooh, fancy. That is not a robot. Neither is that
You
shark.
can't prove this is 2019. Did you just assume that zebra's mechanical structure?
I mean, you just called it a zebra too, so at least I'm not alone in my assumption.
It could be a robot zebra.
Alright, this is our image.
Hell.
No, it's not. It's cut off. I thought I'd at least find the ears.
There's another not a robot.
There's a lot of not robots in here. Look at this. He could very well be a robot. I believe that. Aww. What about this dude? By whomever that is.
Pinterest.
Okay. Do I need to go somewhere to get the right?
If you right click.
Oh, I did not right click. That was a left click. That was a left click. Okay. Right click.
Copy link address.
Beautiful.
That may not be right though. Actually, right click again. Copy image address. That's the one you want. Okay, then go back to the code. And then probably under the link, we'll do a image tag. Hi, Paco. You don't need to do full space source src.
Isn't it? Oh. Source src.
src equals.
That's where the equals comes in. Okay.
You need to do
Delete those.
you need to do quotes, and you need to.
I'm just hitting buttons now. Your keyboard is up higher than mine, and so.
And
I
then you
keep
need
hitting
to make
which
sure to close the image tag.
So I
within
did
itself.
need to close it.
Yes, but you can close it within itself.
With a space slash.
Yep. Robot!
Aww. Can we make it
Who make it what?
different sizes?
Yeah. All you have to do is say width or height. So if you go back and make another attribute inside of the tag,
Do you mean do?
you
What did I just do? I'm just hitting buttons now
you
because
are
your keys are
father's
throwing
child.
up. Do you know what? Your keys are higher up. They're taller
Would
and
you
they're
like
more
me to go get
sensitive.
me your...
You have a nicer keyboard than I do, and it's throwing me off because I have to like manhandle my keyboard, and yours is just like, oh, you want this button? No, I didn't want that button. I thought I had to push it like 10 times as hard to get that button. Hi. Okay.
Probably should get rid of that space there.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. What am I trying to do?
Add another attribute to this tag.
By which you mean alligators?
No. So source is an attribute. So
Okay. And so that closing, did that close the source? Or?
no, that closes the whole tag. So you're gonna go
So I need to go within the closing.
Yep, and then you could type in width or height.
I thought going down would. Do I just enter? Will
yep.
do it? Cool. Wait.
And then say 400 or 400 pix. 400 px.
400 pixels?
Yep. And then if you save that, we can go back and it should shrink it. Yep. So some of the things that are kind of interesting is You can set a width or a height, and it will constrain the one side and maintain aspect ratio of the other.
That's nice.
But if you go back to your code and declare a height of 400 pixels,
It'll mess everything up.
let's see. Space. Yep.
And I can do this with. Can I do this in inches or whatever instead of pixels?
Yes.
He's cute squished. Words are hard. He was just so cute that it fried my brain.
I see that. So one thing to notice is that the Mr. Link is sitting in front of him, and it's actually pushing him to the side.
Yeah, you can change how it wraps or
Yep,
whatever.
we can change all sorts of stuff like that, but that is a CSS problem.
Cool.
So let's do a couple more HTML things and then probably call that a night. Yeah.
So go back to the page.
Yeah, go back to the page. I think there's some
There's a link, an image. That's still an image, and that's the width and the height.
Yep, we just did
Okay,
that.
and they didn't do pixels. What are they changing there? Oh, it does
So
mean pixels.
pixels is
Okay.
implicit. So you can use things such as view height or view width, which is VW, VH. That's like saying 10% of the entire screen, or you can have a 10% of the container, and like all sorts of other things. Like there's actually a lot of different units you can use.
The alt, the value. Alt.
Yep. So this is something that all sorts of companies, some companies have gone under because they didn't do this. Basically, there's a I'm trying to remember, like accessibility laws. So if somebody is blind, having a basically screen reader program will go through and they can figure out how to get through the website without having access to the full view of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So this is super important if you're ever working with like government or other kind of like high intense contracts, because not only do they check for stuff like this, but they'll check like color blindness things and all sorts of just like crazy amounts of regulation around it from times. So
Just making it accessible to anyone with any sort of disability.
right.
Okay. So what is this alt girl with the jacket?
So basically, what the alt is trying to say, it's trying to represent what the image is.
Oh.
So
the
if you
alt
hit
is
the
just
try
a,
it yourself,
it's just a verbal description?
kind of, but it will also pop up when you don't, say if the image fails to load. Like say, right now we're actually just pulling that image from Google or from Pinterest or whatever. If for whatever reason that server deletes that file and it no longer exists,
Mm-hmm.
it will display the alt attribute if it can't actually display the image.
But the alt is basically just your description of what the image should have been.
Right.
Okay. Well. So do I just do the alt right there?
Yep.
And do I need to do equals?
Yep.
Oh, does it for me? Alt. With a heart?
Yep. Okay. So that is your alts. We can go back and see some of the other couple things if there's anything else we should run through. The important one is divs. So right now the A link, the A tag, the Mr. Link boy, is right next to the picture. That's because with the CSS, they're just kind of displaying right next to each other whenever they can.
Okay.
So one of the things we can do is we could wrap both the A tag and the image tag with a div, and that being a division.
Okay.
So let's wrap them. So open curve or angle boys div. Yep. And then a closing boy.
Down here?
Nope. After the A. After the closing of the A.
Okay. So we're wrapping the image, but not, or we're wrapping the.
We're gonna wrap both.
Okay.
Just with separate ones. Other side. Yep. And then if you actually, okay.
By what?
If you drag up, shift up. Shift up. Okay, and then too far. One down. Tab. Boom. You fixed your thing. So then let's wrap the image tag with the div tag as well. I'm not entirely sure this is going to work, if I'm being honest. I think it will work, but it still might be weird.
So
You have an extra angle boy. Okay, save. Now let's go back to there. Ta-da! Now you have the thing, a division, and that actually takes up the whole screen this way. And then the, well, I guess I really should have like some view of me
pointing.
playing. Yeah,
So the
pointing.
link takes up the screen this way.
Yep.
And then this what?
Then the image also takes up the screen that way. So there's a little awesome little tool in the top left of the inspect tab. Top left.
There's the inspect tab.
That's you're in it. The
this whole
inspect
thing's
view.
inspect.
Yep.
Okay.
So
And then the top
left.
this.
So that little guy will give you all the kind of areas of things. So
Okay.
that blue is saying, oh, this is the whole, this is your whole
Okay, so when I click on
body.
When I hover over body, it shows
Yep,
me
it
all
shows
of that.
you that whole thing, and then you can actually drag it onto the screen and say, oh, that div, that paragraph goes, so that div goes all the way across the screen, and so does that paragraph.
So
And so
basically
it's the image.
this space, sorry, let's see. All of this space is being used.
Yes. So CSS comes into play when you're trying to manage that space on a more, I don't know, arguably you can kind of manage that space a little bit with HTML, but fundamentally CSS
Does it
is, it just,
easier.
it's how you do all the, HTML is used to set up all the structure so that things are roughly where they should be, and CSS is used to make sure they look the way they should look.
Okay.
And modifications of that within the structure you gave it. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think of a good analogy. A builder will build a room, and that room is going to be some set of dimensions, but he doesn't care about what the floor plan, he cares about the floor plan, but he doesn't really care about what the interior designer does with the room. He's just building the room. And then the interior designer comes in and says, oh, we have all this space, we're going to do this with this, this with this, this with that. Because the contractor is just building the structure of the house, not necessarily any of the interior design things.
Okay. Cool. Well, I for one am highly satisfied with the adorable robot. The fact that I created the link. And my beautiful paragraph.
It's a beautiful, beautiful paragraph.
Thanks for
Right.
helping me
Anytime,
craft
baby.
that paragraph.
Right.
Silver-tongued devil.
Anyways. So, yeah. I guess that's a good place to stop.
See you next time.